You want to know the one text that makes a woman regret losing you? The one message that haunts her after she's walked away, thinking you'd be waiting, still hoping, still hurting. You want to know the line that turns the tables, not out of manipulation, not out of some cheap tactic, but from real power. Power that comes from pain, from clarity, from walking through the fire and refusing to crawl back. I'll tell you what it is. But first, you need to understand why it works. Because the text is not the power, you are. The message is just the mirror. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. When you chase, you lose. When you beg, when you try to prove your worth, when you try to remind her how much you care, she feels nothing. Not because she's cruel, but because your energy says you need her to feel whole, and no woman wants to be with a man who can't breathe without her. At first she liked your attention. She liked the validation, the warmth, the certainty. But when that attention turns into dependence, she starts to pull away. Not because she stopped liking you, but because you stopped being the man she was drawn to. You stopped being you. You became the version of yourself that bends, breaks, and sacrifices his soul for approval. You became predictable, desperate, always available. You weren't mysterious anymore. You weren't calm. You weren't challenging. You were just there. And slowly, her attraction faded. Not overnight, not in some cruel way, but like a candle burning out. Quiet, subtle, cold. That's when she started acting different. Colder, slower replies, less interested, shorter texts, and you felt it. You knew something was wrong, but instead of walking away like a man who values himself, you clung harder, you texted more, you explained, you argued, you poured your heart out, hoping she'd see your value again. She didn't, not because she didn't care, but because you were no longer the man she wanted to care for. You were the shell of who you were when she first felt that spark, so now you're here. Wondering what text could flip that pain, what words could possibly make her regret walking away. I'll tell you, but you better not send it until your soul is ready, because if you send this and your heart still hopes, still aches, still wants her back, it won't work. She'll smell the weakness behind the words, and once again, she'll feel nothing. But if you've walked through the hell of letting go, if you've faced the silence, if you've deleted the messages, swallowed the urge to reach out, rebuilt your strength, and finally started to see yourself again, then this message hits different. Here it is. Thank you for showing me what I don't want. I'm not angry, I just finally see it clearly. Take care. That's it. No punctuation circus, no begging, no passive-aggressive swipes, just pure clarity. Because here's what that text does. If it comes from a man who means it, it kills the last bit of control she thought she had. It breaks the narrative that you're still waiting, still hoping, still hurting. It replaces the image of the man she could always come back to with the man she can't reach anymore. And that is when the regret starts. Not instantly, not while she's still distracted or getting attention elsewhere, but when life slows down, when the drama fades, when she's alone again, and your silence echoes louder than all the men blowing up her phone. See, most women don't regret the man who chased. They regret the man who disappeared without resentment, who didn't fight, who didn't argue, who just vanished, calm, collected, better than before, because that kind of man becomes a ghost she can't stop thinking about. Now understand this. This isn't about making her suffer. This isn't revenge. This is truth. You don't owe her chaos. You don't owe her an explanation for your absence. You owe yourself peace. And the moment you stop trying to convince her of your worth, she starts to wonder about it. The real regret doesn't come when she reads your message. It comes when she realizes you didn't send another one. You let go, not to get her back, but to get yourself back. This is the cold reality no one tells you. Most women are not emotionally attached to the man they walked away from. They're emotionally attached to the version of him that could have been, the potential, the idea. But if you keep showing up the same way, weak, anxious, overinvested, she doesn't have space to miss anything. She only sees the version she got tired of. That's why you have to become unrecognizable, not for her, for you. Because the moment she realizes you no longer crave her, no longer reach out, no longer orbit her world, something shifts. Her mind starts to play tricks on her. Did she misjudge you? Did she walk away from something real? Has someone else taken your attention now? Why are you so calm? See, most men think the most powerful thing they can do is say something clever, deliver the perfect line. But the real power is the man who walks away with grace and never looks back. A man like that doesn't need closure. He is the closure. So yes, that text will hit her like a storm if she once had feelings for you, if she once believed you were hers, if she once thought she could always return. But don't rely on it. Don't wait for the reaction. Don't hang on to the outcome, because the moment you do, the power disappears. She'll feel the need behind the message, the emotional hook, and she'll pull away again. This is not about pretending. This is about becoming the version of yourself that no longer needs her validation to feel whole. Becoming the man who sees rejection not as a wound, but as redirection. Becoming the man who understands that walking away is not weakness, it's clarity. You don't need to explain why you disappeared. You don't need to remind her of what she lost. The silence does that. The peace you radiate now does that. Because women notice. They always notice. When your energy shifts, when your eyes no longer search for them, when your voice no longer breaks, when your presence becomes lighter, freer, more grounded, they feel it and they wonder. They don't always come back, but they do regret. Regret doesn't always look like a text. Sometimes it looks like watching your stories, asking mutual friends, bringing your name up out of nowhere, trying to reconnect in ways that don't seem obvious. Don't fall for it. Regret is not your responsibility. Healing is. So send that message only when you mean it, only when you no longer care whether she answers, only when you're ready to move forward, not as a tactic, but as a truth. Because the message that triggers regret in every woman is not about her, it's about you, reclaiming your power and letting her feel the absence of the man she once took for granted, a man who's no longer waiting. If this spoke to you, if it made something click, don't just let that feeling pass, because this moment right here, it's the turning point, the part where you stop chasing love that doesn't choose you back. The part where you stop trying to convince someone to care. And if you're ready to start moving differently, check out my ebook, How to Stop Chasing Love and Make Them Chase You. It's real, it's honest, and it's written for men who are done begging, done overthinking, done shrinking themselves to fit into someone else's life. This isn't about playing games. It's about finally understanding the power of detachment, emotional discipline, and silence, and using that to rebuild your confidence from the ground up. The link's in the description. Take your time with it. Read it like your future depends on it, because in many ways it does. No more chasing, no more explaining, just peace and power.